Okay, let's check out this Marc Maron thing. Okay, Marc Maron is a comedian. You're probably aware of him. He's the host of the WTF podcast, which, plug your ears, kids, stands for what the fuck. And he put out a letter, which I think is interesting for a variety of reasons. One of which is that, he's a mainstream comedian who has worked with and talked to all types of other mainstream comedians. He's worked with people and had people on his show who are pretty broad in terms of their reach, their politics, their vibes. He's not a radical political comedian or anything like that. But I think in recent years, he's gotten a little more shook by what's happening in the world. And I think has been affected by the way in which comedy, in particular, comedy podcasting, has become a mechanism for the perpetuation of right-wing ideology and conspiracy theory in these United States of America. So he said some stuff, and I want to look at what he said. This is it, people. It's finally here. I should do a Marc Maron voice. American authoritarianism with a fully functioning, no, I can't do it, with a fully functioning fascist cultural apparatus. Wow. We did it. It took us about 250 years, but we did it. Yay. I'm not sure which was more horrendous and damning, the deployment of troops to LA or the bombing of Iran, but they are of a kind. Orders of a leader who cares nothing for the people of the country and is autocratically creating a government that serves only his whims and power. Mark, this is not funny yet. This is at the cost of democracy and feeds the fire of inhumanity for his myopic, brutal, and dangerous followers. Whoa! Pow! This is a very different message than you might be getting from the Tim Dillons. I'm not like super plugged into that world, so some of you guys might know better than I do. But this is a different message you're getting from some of the people on that side of things. He says, we get to live in real fear all the time now, not made up or generated internally, but actual terror of our government, our fellow Americans. Sorry, don't want to be grim, but the unconstitutional attack of Iran and LA will put in place the machinery to make this a military dictatorship. I hope all those that voted for this passively and based on emotions are happy and proud of the America we're becoming, where pain feeds their excitement and corruption and moral bankruptcy become their proud day-to-day way of moving through the world. I hope all the anti-woke. Okay, and here's what we get to here. Marc Maron talks in particular about anti-woke comics. The Andrew Schultzes of the world. People who can't be funny if they can't say the R word. And I would say, like, even if I bracketed and said, sure, a comedian is an artist. Artists should get to play with language and culture. You should be able to, if you do it right, you should be able to say the R word and the F word or whatever words you want to use. Even if we granted that, I would say if you are unable to be funny without the use of a few words that many have deemed to be pretty offensive, then I don't think you're funny. Like, you're not good at comedy. In the same way where, let's talk about sports. I know we're all big sports heads here. LeBron James, who's my age, not Mamdani's age, as he's gotten older, there are many things that he can't do now that he used to be able to do physically as an athlete. However, he's still very good. He's still one of the best people that plays basketball. Well, why is that? Because he's such a good basketball player. You take a few tools away and he's still good. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I feel about a lot of these comedians. Like, they spend so much effort defending why they should use particular words. But it's just like, even if you're right, you shouldn't rely on that to be funny. Let's get back to Marcus Maron. I hope all the anti-woke comics are happy about pushing this all through. The big question is, when will they shut up about trans people, intellectually challenged people, immigrants, the disabled minorities? I mean, they won. This is true as well. One of the weirder things about the contemporary right wing is that they won, and yet they still talk as if they're being oppressed every second of every day by some cadre of people who I'm not sure if they actually exist. The policies they were supporting, whether they knew it or not, are happening. All the language and law that protected the vulnerable and marginalized and gave them a leg up have been destroyed. History is being erased and rewritten. I had to go to speech class when I was in elementary school. That's a real thing. I had to go to speech class because I would say written instead of written. And sometimes it still comes out. Creativity, tolerance, and the path to equality squashed. I hope it was all worth it so you can say the R word again. Okay, I didn't mean to say all that before he got there. I didn't mean to say all of the stuff before Maron just says the thing in the letter. But he says it right there. I hope all of this is worth it so that you can say the R word again. I hope you're proud that all the policies you were championing, You ever see a guy have a stroke on a stream? Get ready. Are happening. I hope you can now stop playing the victim and just enjoy the amazing lack of diversity and diminishment of human rights and collective fury you've supported, because it's here. I assume you'll just keep at it. It's one thing to mock the weak and another thing to celebrate their pain and deaths. I assume you have nothing else. Now that what made you has become hack, you can just go back to the standard hack model. I do wonder, some of these folks in the comedy world, are they just so detached from reality that they don't see that some of the policies and figures they have supported are causing actual harm and death and suffering to vulnerable people? Like, did they really not see it? Because it's either that like they don't see it, that they've abstracted in their head so much that when they do see it, they think somehow those people deserve it, or they're really just sociopaths who don't care. I don't know what it is. But yeah, I don't know. I would just, what do they think? What do they feel? I want to try to have, if not empathy, a level of understanding for how people who I want to believe aren't fundamentally cruel see people getting rounded up and beat by ICE and separated from their families, or see trans kids getting bullied, or see, folks overseas getting bombed, and they're just like, nah, it's bad, they deserve it. Fuck them. Fuck them. On another note, I watched a final cut of the film In Memoriam, which I play the lead. I did good. I'm okay with it. Okay, good. You gotta love yourself, Mark. It's a very emotionally charged movie, very human. I guess many of the projects I'm involved with coming out this year are like that. I think I'm okay with that. The simplicity of human emotions and struggles. Stick may not be art, but it might be what we need. I've enjoyed it. I'm not big on talking about storytelling, but I'm sure there's another way to get back to what makes us human, the good parts of it. Anyways, good point. If a lot of what is considered comedy and content and entertainment in the modern context is dehumanizing us, is separating us from others, maybe that's not the good model. If the world of streams and podcasts and comedy specials all create these little bubbles around us where we just dehumanize others, maybe that's bad. Maybe we do need to be watching more good movies and shows. I've say this quote at least once a month, but famously, the film critic Roger Ebert said that movies are machines for the making of empathy, and I think there's something very real there. That good storytelling in film and on television is able to connect us to other human people. It's able to let us experience the lives of those that are different than ourselves. It's able to expand the boundaries of our own humanity. And I definitely worry that the contemporary content model is doing the opposite. And to be clear here, I'm thinking of a lot of left-wing things when I say that as well. I'm thinking about formats like this. I'm thinking about the thing that I'm doing right now. Do forums like this, do streaming and making YouTube videos lead to the creation of empathy? Does it lead to understanding people that aren't like yourselves, or does it lead to doubling down on very specific and well-bounded positions in communities at the exclusion of all else? I don't know. Maybe is Mark going to tell us what? I don't think people sit with each other and just be in the struggle that we all share in all its ways. He said, I don't think people sit with each other and just be in the struggle that we all share in all its nuance and variation. So storytelling is the form of television or theater that is crafted to explore the struggle in a relatively honest way is necessary now. Today I talked to Jordan Klepper about the MAGA youth and many other things. Then Thursday, blah, 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 blah. So there you go. That's Marc Maron getting very real about where we're at as a society politically, and getting very real about how he sees his community, the community of people that do comedy, participating in that thing. I'm curious what you guys think about that. Sean says, yeah, it leads to more postmodernism. Feeding the algorithm is king. Of course. Mr. Cynic, and this makes sense if your name's Mr. Cynic wonders if comprehending good storytelling is something we're still capable of. I think that's true. I think our brains have been poisoned a little bit to not be able to do that. Nicholas points out that our standards of entertainment are in hell. Who's here just doing like Islamophobia stuff? Don't. I think to say that a religion is fundamentally tyrannical and unjust is kind of silly. I think if you are going to say that, then you should be consistent and say that about all of the Abrahamic faiths, because they overlap a lot. So just be consistent is all I would say. Let's see. I see people bringing up Bill Burr. Bill Burr said some funny stuff along those lines recently. I just like to catch up with the chat sometimes because you guys say good stuff that I like. You say good stuff that I like and I think is interesting and I think is smart. Yeah, I mean, and I do think like there's a connection between some of the stuff that Marc Maron is saying there and the Mamdani primary victory in that, I think that good politicians are able to tap into something way more broad and human. I mean, think about a lot of the politics of our contemporary age is just grounded in fear. You know what I mean? It's grounded in people being afraid. It's grounded in these guys are going to get you, and then those guys are going to get you, and then these migrants are going to get you, and these trans kids are going to get you, and everyone's going to get you. So come with us. We'll put the big wall. We'll do the bombs. We'll do whatever. We'll fuck those guys. Fuck those guys. Fuck those guys. And then we'll all be together here. I think that something I liked about Mamdani's victory speech, you could look it up and watch it if you want, was an emphasis on kind of like the unity of working people in New York more generally. An emphasis on the fact that when he walks through the city, he sees a lot of people that are working people that want a lot of the same stuff. And I think that that's really important. It's telling a story that is inclusive. It's telling a story that centers working people and their desires. It centers the fact that most people just want to like do their job and hang with their families and afford to live. And I think in doing that, this might sound a little corny or idealistic on my part, doing that, we see candidates that are able to, appeal in a way that's not ideological, because it doesn't feel too ideological for me, at least, to hear a candidate talk about how everyone should be able to pay rent and everyone should be able to buy groceries and everyone should be able to have their kids go to daycare and stuff like that. So I feel like there's, a big upside to this sort of stuff. I'm going to chug some water real quick.